This week on One Day Leader, our contestants take on the state of healthcare in our country. What would it take to improve the healthcare service in South Africa? Sanmanani Mzansi, and welcome to One Day Leader, the show that motivates the leaders of tomorrow. Igama nginguPearl Shongwe. Our contestants have been fighting it out for the past 10 weeks. As we head into our elimination rounds, the question on everyone's mind is, who will be the last man or girl standing? Who has what it takes to lead South Africa? And who has what it takes to be our One Day Leader Season 7. Leaders, it's time for us to hear from you, your vision statements. Peaceful, I'll start with you.
I am a disability champion, an eye for the blind and an ear for the deaf. I'm a helping hand in time of need, a fortress of refuge for orphans and a light of hope for widows. Alone, I'm a toothless lion, but together we can create an inclusive society for the marginalized. I am a son of the soil, an African for the Africans.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Anissa. Your vision statement, please.
Thank you very much. I had a conversation with Mother Africa the other day, and we spoke of our rich history and the bliss of a united Africa, which led to my vision of social justice through education. South Africa, I have received the signal, and I am here and will forever be inspired by the vision and courage of Mamwini Nomzamo Matikizela Mandela. This, I promise, call me daughter of the soil.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you, Khotato. Your vision statement, please.
I speak on behalf of the young man who has to choose between finding a job and finishing off his studies when I say that poverty doesn't look good on anyone. And on behalf of the grandmother who has to decide on whether to pay her bills or get proper medical care, I say that no two human rights can be mutually exclusive.
Thank you very much. Kosi, welcome. Your vision statement, please.
In a country with high unemployment rates, let's make entrepreneurship a norm. Let's support, empower, develop, procure, and mentor small enterprises like City Development Transport and Logistics across all these area codes. Hashtag, I believe, Kiadumela, forward. We go.
Thank you very much, Leader 4. Leader 5, hello to you. Your vision statement, please.
Thank you very much. I am not a martyr, but I am an activist and a black radical feminist. And I believe in the fire of black love, the sweat of truth, and in free decolonized education. I am not here to imagine a world that ought to be, but I am here to create an Africa, South Africa, that should and will be by any means necessary. I am Agent Mufirifiri at your service.
Thank you very much. And finally, Webster, welcome to tonight's show. Your vision statement, please.
I believe in the fourth industrial revolution, a world where we are not excluded by not being able to compete with artificial intelligence. Because in this world, we invent it, we speak to it, and we solve problems with it. South Africa, I have been sent to tell you that the robots are no longer coming. They have arrived.
Thank you very much, leaders. Siyabonga kakhulu for your vision statements. Now, we know that you at home have been voting relentlessly for your favorite leaders. Let's take a look at what our scoreboard currently looks like. This week's viewer vote sees Leader 6 leading the pack with 2,213 viewer votes, followed by Leader 2 with 956 votes. Trailing behind is Leader 3 with 27 votes. That means you, Leader 6, get 1 point. Congratulations. Now, our series scoreboard shows us that Leader 2, Anissa, is leading the pack with 12 points, followed by Leader 5 with 11 points, and last on the list is Leader 4 with 4 points. Mbukeli nikhumbule ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi nimvotele umholi enimthanda kakhulu, and this is how you can cast your vote. To vote for your favorite leader, SMS his or her number to 32792. If you want to vote for Peaceful, SMS Leader 1. For Anissa, SMS Leader 2. For Khotato, SMS Leader 3. Griffiths, Leader 4. Busi, Leader 5. And for Webster, SMS Leader 6. To keep your favorite leader in the running, keep voting for them. Our voting lines will be open at the end of the show. Now over to our guest judge. Dr. Tebogo Letlape is the president of the Health Professions Council of South Africa, an organization that protects the public and health professionals. Allow me to also welcome our resident judges. Gugulethu Gugs Mhlungu has over 10 years experience in media. Currently, she's the deputy editor for a leading South African publication and was the winner of the 2015 Columnist of the Year at the Legends Media Awards. And also Ndumiso Hadebe, who is a One Day Leader alumni who won season 2 of this very show. He's an economist by profession and an entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a warm welcome. Doctor, let me start with you tonight. Where do we begin with fixing or bridging the gaps that currently exist within our health system?
We begin by focusing on a system that is to create a healthy population. So the health system should not be about sickness. It should be about keeping people healthy.
All right, thank you very much. Gugu, what do you think about tonight's topic? I mean, at some point, we fall ill, our relatives fall ill. Not anyone or everyone can afford medical aid. What are your thoughts about just how we can tighten the belt and make sure that our system is functioning and it is efficient?
When we speak of the public healthcare system, I think we're also speaking about South Africa in general. The healthcare system is a microcosm of the inequality that exists in South Africa. And it was one of the things we were speaking with the doctor as well, that if we're going to speak about the healthcare system, we can't get away without speaking about inequality and poverty. So I think that's quite an interesting and an important part of this debate is the healthcare system is indicative of other issues. How do we fix those, which then play out in the healthcare system as well? All
right, thank you very much, Ndumiso. I will be coming to you a little later on. We are also joined tonight by Season 5 winner, Sydney Madibo, who has been a debate mentor to our leaders this season. Let me quickly find him in the audience. Sydney, what advice do you have for our contestants tonight as they go into these elimination shows?
Well, I think what our contestants should remember is that One Day Leader is just but a fraction of the actual impact they have in society. What will truly test their leadership abilities is what they do when they get out of the competition. So I would advise them that, you know, whoever gets eliminated, don't be discouraged. Don't think that you're any less of a leader. Go back to the community that you come from and show them what you're made of.
All right, thank you very much for those words, Sydney. We are also joined by Zarif Minty, who is the winner of Season 4. Zarif, let me quickly get your thoughts. I know that you've been following this season. You've also been in this position before. It gets quite nerve-wracking and it gets a bit difficult to focus once we get to the stage. Just your words of advice.
Yeah, I think congratulations to all the leaders out there as well. I mean, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I think just touching on the fact that you guys all came on here with a sole purpose and a mandate to push out a community or a certain standpoint, for example. I think you guys just need to stick on that standpoint. Stick on the type of mandate that you actually came here for. That's very, very important. And at the same time, enjoy yourselves, guys. Like from now on until the end of the platform, beat the next 4 episodes, it's a lot of fun. There's eliminations. There's a whole lot of things happening. But you guys just need to stay focused on what you actually believe in. And yeah, good luck for the next 4 episodes.
Thank you very much, Sarif. Now, in 2005, Bongi Msibi gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She left Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital with her bundle of joy and led what she believed would be a normal life. But in 2016, she came to a shocking revelation that turned her entire world upside down. Feeling betrayed by the health professionals who were supposed to care for her, Bongi began her journey as a health activist. Let's take a look at this insert to see what our leaders uncovered.
We've got some snail mail from Pearl, and she says Bongi Msibi has a complication when she was pregnant, or had a complication when she was pregnant at 17. Years later, she came to realize that her womb was removed without her consent. She's looking for justice.
It is absolutely terrifying to think that I could go in with a toothache and come out with no organs from hospital.
Help her find the answers to this. Your task leader for today is
drum roll. Okay.
Busisiwe, you're the task leader for today.
I think about everything we need to get to meet her, speak to her about what happened, And also we can speak to the hospital and get the nitty-gritties about what could have went wrong and why did she not know.
I don't think people would be open to engaging with us, but we need to get justice for her, or if there are any other cases that are similar to hers. So more than anything, at the heart of this, the principle of our task, I believe, should be around getting justice.
I don't know who took out my uterus. My file is missing. So I don't know, was it deemed necessary for it to be performed? I don't know any reason why. I just know that I don't have a uterus. Therefore, that means I don't even know the doctor that performed that surgery. I don't know who signed for it.
She did not know for so many years. And the way she found out was going to a doctor and being concerned about infertility.
I have written to a number of authorities. I've written to HPCSA, Human Rights Commission, Department of Women, political parties that I would not prefer not to mention, Office of the President. I've been everywhere, and I then realized that there's so much ignorance and arrogance happening, and I then decided that if I decide to back down, I'll be failing those individuals, that I know that they are struggling, because believe you me, there are people that are struggling more than me.
I am so mad. I'm Gabela. I'm lit.
I gave birth 2015. I can assure you, it's still happening today. And you ask yourself, why isn't anyone doing anything? I am not sure if they like, the fact of signing fancy checks, to the public. I don't know. Maybe that makes them feel good or might and all that. But having people that are qualified doctors in very high positions that are occupying the positions, we talk of. Dr. Aaron Mutsoledi is aware of my matter, but I'm not sure what is doing about that. Dr. Gwen is aware. I had a meeting with her on the 13th of February. There's still no movement. And then you ask yourself, what is it that I need to do to prove a point?
She's approached so many people and it has fallen on deaf ears, or they listen to her, but they don't do anything about it. So it begs the question then, are these individuals or are these people skilled enough?
If I had things my way, I would ask everyone to get fired.
A very emotional story there. Doctor, I just want to come to you quickly. You've just seen this insert and heard the story, but this is one of many stories of medical malpractice that we've seen in this country. What do you believe should be the recourse?
I think the first thing is to get the facts right, what happened, because there seems to be a communication issue, that what happened to her was not communicated to her. That's the first issue. It seems that she was a minor at the time of the procedure. So where she needs to start is to see who was the next of kin or the family member that would have been signing for her, and ask that family member, what happened, what were the issues, how did I end up where I am? But she needs to get the answers. So it looks like there's a serious communication problem. But I also want to make you aware that from having listened that it was a childbirth thing, one of the major things that we have is that a lot of mothers are lost in childbirth due to bleeding. So on one hand, we should celebrate the fact that she's alive post that intervention, but we need to interrogate what were the facts, what really happened. And it is sad that someone would not know what was done on her body.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. On that note, it's time for us to take a quick ad break. Do stay with us here on One Day Leader. We'll have a whole lot more when we return. One Day Leader. Tonight's debate topic is, what would it take to improve healthcare services in South Africa? Ungakhohlwa ukuthi umbono wakho nawo lapha ekhaya ubaleke kakhulu ngakho-ke please write to us on our Facebook page. It is One Day Leader SA. Also check out our Instagram page for all the behind the scenes action at One Day Leader, and of course hashtag One Day Leader on Twitter. Before the break, we heard from Ubongi Msibi, a health activist who had her uterus unlawfully removed when she was just 17 years old. Now, our leaders set out to demand answers and seeking accountability and justice on her behalf. Let's see how that went.
Floor manager.
Thank you.
Hello. We're going to admin.
For what?
We'd like to clarify a few issues.
Are you stopping us or not?
We were at a hospital, but there was so much of security. We were not armed. We were probably armed with questions.
That's
right.
The ICT and PRO offices. Osborne, she didn't get permission, she didn't get her permission or consent when the hospital decided to take her uterus. Can we please see the ICT or the PRO offices? What floor is this?
Also, touching is just going way too far.
What floor is this?
We're not negotiating, we want
Is there any way that we can speak to the relevant people?
Oh, the head of communications.
Recording is not allowed, so.
Excuse me, did I get you correctly? You are the head of communications. Name as head of communications, we need to be able to identify you. But his identification card did not identify him as the head of communications, and then another woman came through and said, no, he's actually acting. How is this woman coming into this hospital and leaving without a womb, leaving without a uterus? How is that possible? We're in a hospital that has specialists, like world-renowned hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in South Africa. Women come in here and they leave without uteruses, they leave without organs, without their consent.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
What is not possible? Which you are talking about? What?
It has not happened. How is it not possible? You haven't heard of the case. How is it not possible?
Negligence doesn't happen.
It doesn't exist in this
It was just a matter of people showing that, listen, we have security and you all better get out of the building.
You are here, placed here to help people, but you give them this attitude. And if it wasn't for cameras and for investigative journalism like this, you would not be exposed. You will continuously walk past people and tell them that you are here, there's nothing, there's no money. You will continue taking out people's uteruses. You will continue cutting the wrong leg. You'll continue being inefficient. We are here to help you, Papa. We are here to help you.
Good performance.
Great performance from you in keeping quiet.
Congratulations.
Wow, they teach you guys to be inefficient.
Nothing's going to work with the health system because the government annually dishes out billions to pay people for compensation. They don't want to investigate the costs of the problem.
Shoo. Tempers were certainly flaring there, as you saw on that insert. Now, the producers of our show did extend an invite to the Department of Health to join us for tonight's broadcast. Well, unfortunately, they did not send a representative to be on the show. Ndumi, so let me quickly get your thoughts around how our leaders tackled that task.
Sure, thanks, Paul. I do have a number of questions, though, and as I was watching the execution of the task, I was reminded of one of the words of former President Kgalema Motlanthe saying, at the beginning of every revolution, there must be an end in mind. So after seeing the full execution of the task, I'm wondering, what was the end in mind that you had for this task?
All right, let's
Busi?
come to Busi, yes.
So the end goal was to essentially get justice, first of all, for Sis Bongi, but more than anything, it was to get someone at Chris Baragwanath to account for a lot of the malpractice that is happening at the hospital. We also wanted to engage a lot of the staff members as well, to engage the nurses, to engage, if possible, patients as well, to understand if people are aware of the maladministration and the malpractice that is happening at such an institution like Chris Baragwanath, because it is honestly unacceptable. So more than anything else, we wanted to make sure that by the time we left there, that Sis Bongi would be able to communicate with Chris Baragwanath Hospital, or they would be able to contact her to be able to explain to her why her file is missing and other pertinent issues that they weren't able to address when she first went alone.
All right, thank you very much, Busi Ndumi. So we'll leave it there for the moment. After the break, we'll find out from our judges how our leaders performed on the task. We'll talk to Ukuku, but don't you go anywhere.
The National Youth Development Agency, it's an agency of all young people in South Africa. Over the last few years, the organization has existed in affluent areas, in towns and so on. So what we've been doing now is to take it to rural areas, to townships, so that young people across the country are able to benefit out of it. We continue to impact the lives of young people for the better.
Ngiphinda nginamukele ku-One Day Leader. As you've seen, the NYDA is an agency that is helping young South Africans be more proactive in building the economic future of our country. A huge shout out to them for being one of our main sponsors for the grand prize that our six are gunning for. Remember, one of your leaders could be going home today. Before the break, we watched our leaders confronting hospital staff at Baragwanath Hospital and demanding answers on behalf of Sis Bongi Msibi, who experienced medical negligence during her stay. Gugu, I know that we're about to go into our debates, and you're always very clear on what it is you're looking for in your debates. In relation to tonight's topic, what can our leaders expect?
So what I'm looking for, and it certainly didn't come through in the insert, and I'm hoping it comes through in your debates, is I hope there's been a sense, a kind of an engagement of how the healthcare system works. So for instance, if you're going to go looking for answers on behalf of an individual, how that actually works, and within those confines, what is possible, right? Because I think what's also quite important, access to healthcare is a right in this country. It's a basic right, if I'm correct. I'm looking to the doctor for confirmation. but even within that, there's a way in which that right is expressed, and I'm really hoping that in your debate, you kind of get into the nitty-gritties of what the expression of that right, the texture of that right looks like. And so if you are in a situation like Sis Bongi, what is your recourse? Because I think part of what needs to happen here is quite a great deal of learning about how it all fits together and how it all works.
All right, thank you very much, Googs. Let me quickly come to you, Zarif and Sydney. It's quite intense at this stage of the game. What should the mindset be, very briefly?
I think the mindset should be one of just concentrating on, the importance of healthcare and looking at creating more of an equal standard for healthcare in South Africa. I think we can learn from countries like Canada as well, where yes, healthcare is obviously free there, but the level and standard of healthcare is of a very high standard. And I think it comes from a sense of supporting our doctors, A lot of them end up going to Canada and actually practicing over there because of the support base that comes from government as well. So I think we can learn from a country like Canada, learn how to support our doctors more, and learn how to build a better, equal healthcare system in South Africa.
All right, and Sydney?
Well, I think the mindset should be with every single debate that our debaters are going to present, each and every single one of them obviously has to be solution orientated. But far more than that, it also has to show that perhaps how we've been handling issues in the country, from healthcare to politics to the economy. Perhaps how we've been diplomatic about issues hasn't really been solving the problem. And perhaps that sort of radical approach and really getting people to account on camera, or getting them to account for issues that they might have swept under the carpet, perhaps that is the way to go. And we'll see from the debates they present to us what the actual solution is
All
going to
right,
be.
thank you very much, Zarif and Sydney. Now let's take a look at the rules of engagement. These are the rules for the one-day leader debate. You have 30 seconds to state your opening statement, 60 seconds to challenge your opponent, and 30 seconds to conclude your argument. All right, our first debate for tonight will be between Khosi and Busisiwe. You guys are pretty clear on the topic for tonight. You're clear on the rules. You've done this many times before. This is where it counts the most. Khosi, your 30 seconds start now.
With all these 422 public hospitals in South Africa, we still experience scandals like the Life Isidimeni saga, where we lost at least 118 patients. The public sector is still a mess. I, for one, lost my mother to breast cancer. Samples were taken, results only came after her funeral. Bakaitso, we are babysitting a time-ticking bomb. At my village, we call our local hospital a mortuary. Once you're sick, you go there, give me
Time is up. Thank you very much, leaders. You have 60 seconds to engage the topic.
Khosi, my sympathies to you and your family. I'd just like to ask a question. What exactly are the solutions that you're presenting to all these issues that you're pointing out?
Please, be patient, Mother. I'm proposing South Africa. We need money for the health care. Annually, they give a budget of 222 billion for just this year. I say the money is little too. A lot has to be done. More infrastructure is needed. More doctors need to be paid. More nurses are used and are not paid less.
May I ask, so according to the Minister of Finance, the National Treasury has allocated approximately 717 billion towards the healthcare system, including the national health insurance, right? So when you say we need more money, there is more money. You're not talking to
you're
us
mentioning
about
a very
what we do
good
with this
point,
money.
the NHI, right? We see, if you are having a problem, why are you teaching us how to sit on a broken chair? Why are you not coming up with a new system to deal with it, eradicate this whole problem and give us better solutions?
Okay, Khosi.
Thank you very much, leaders. Your time is up, Khosi. The remaining 30 seconds belong to you.
Bakai, so the elephant is too big. Let's break it down. Break down the health ministry. I propose, let's have 3 functional deputy ministers. Have Dr. Joe Pata, the deputy minister who's current sitting, dealing with medical and clinical affairs. Have Mr. Fikile Mbalula dealing with administrative and HR. Have Grievous dealing with infrastructure and transport. We have to separate these issues. Furthermore, politicians must not have medical aid. Politicians, they must come to these hospitals and feel what we feel. Stand in these long queues and feel what we feel. Experience what we experience to have better solutions.
Time is up. Thank you very much, leaders. The tables are turned. We'll see where your 30 seconds start now.
I am all for politicians, not having health insurance, but that's not going to solve the problem that we have in the healthcare system. The Ministry of Health can be identified as one of the most corrupt departments of all ministries in the current administration. What we do need, however, is we need an overhaul of the healthcare system, and this overhaul will improve its management, in the management of the healthcare system, the quality of healthcare that comes out, the human resources planning, development, infrastructure revitalization is important. We also need to relook.
Time is up. Thank you very much. You leaders can engage.
Okay. I hear you with your overhaul. Practically so, how do you go about practically?
So how we practically go over this is, first we start with community healthcare workers. Community healthcare workers are very important because they are able to educate people at grassroots level about their health rights, about the kinds of services that hospitals can offer.
We have 3,841 clinics. So that has been done. Clinics are there. I'm from a village myself. We are being serviced by a clinic. Nurses attend to
when
us
I
and
talk
they
about
assist
the
us.
community healthcare workers, these are not just people who are specifically stationed at clinics, but these are people that go into rural areas, in areas where there aren't any clinics. These are volunteers, or they have been volunteers at that particular point in time. If there is a budget of 717 billion rand, there can be a budget essentially
by the way, I
to
disagree
pay
with
these
your budget.
community
I very
healthcare
much
workers.
disagree with which year was this budget for?
This year, it was this year's budget.
No, this year's budget is 222 billion.
No, it's not. Apart from that, we're not going to argue about the
But I'm telling you
nitty-gritties
the
of the
numbers,
budget.
the current
Time is up. Thank you very much. We'll see where you have the remaining 30 seconds.
What What I am hoping to have a conversation about with Khosi is about the fact that 1/3 of our population suffers from mental illness and 75% of them will not receive treatment, right? What we need are specialized state hospitals that can cater for the more than 17 million people in SA that are suffering from depression and other mental health issues. Doctor, I put it to you that the country is listening. Why are doctors paying for their qualifications? Why is there maladministration in hospitals? And why are people able to buy qualifications?
Time is up. Thank you very much, leaders. And a very heated first debate we had there between Khosi and Busisi with some very interesting views, some very interesting solutions being proposed as well. Let me quickly come to Ndumiso. Your thoughts on that first debate?
Quite an interesting debate, of course, between the two candidates. The numbers thing, 222, 2019, 2020 forecast. 700 and odd billion for the past 10 years. So that's how much has been spent in the sector over the past 10 years. But I think there were quite a number of issues, but I was personally more persuaded by Busi's argument because it looked at the health sector holistically. You mentioned the issues of money and resources. There's been money that's been invested in the sector, but there are other issues, the management of those healthcare facilities, oversight of those healthcare facilities, how is accountability practiced in the sector as well. So there are a number of issues that I felt Busi touched more on that I wished that you would have touched more on. 3 ministers, that's a political function. It's not the administrative function. The head counter that actually delivers service delivery at the core face of delivery. So,
all right,
yeah.
Let me quickly come to you, Dr. Busisiwe had some questions for you. What is your response?
My response is that healthcare is very complex. And what is happening in our country, you get deprofessionalization. Instead of assisting the professionals and creating an environment for them to be professionals, we are deprofessionalizing it by bringing in cadres to do what professionals should be doing. You need community health workers, but community health workers must be for functions that they are trained for, that they have the expertise for.
All right.
You cannot create a system where it's community health workers for poor people and it's neurosurgeons for a headache for the rich. There has to be equity. And whatever we create, we mustn't get into the rural-urban divide. There has to be a system that is the same for all South Africans.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ndumi. So let me quickly come back to you for the verdict, please.
It is a unanimous vote for Busi.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations, Leader 5. Our voting lines will be opened at the end of the show. They will be closed on Thursday afternoon at 12 midday. So do vote for your favorite leader, Ngok SMS igama elithi leader, and they number to our SMS line, which is 32792 at a cost of R1.50. Must be $8. We get into our next round of debates. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are still watching One Day Leader Konalago SABC 1, and tonight we are discussing the state of healthcare in South Africa. We've asked our leaders what would it take to improve healthcare services in South Africa. Our first debate was quite heated, but it's time for us to get into our second round of debate. Khotatso and Peaceful. You know the rules, you know the debate topic. I hope you've done your research and that you'll do yourselves proud. Peaceful, you have the 30 seconds.
1 in every 4 babies born in South Africa are born through a C-section, and 26% of those people are born in a public hospital. However, a recent publication by a major insurance group showed that 80% of C-section births come from wealthy areas. However, the challenge here with the South African healthcare system is that it perpetuates class struggle, and the poor do not have the privilege to access health services that the rich have access to. So, in short, efficient healthcare in South Africa happens to have a target market, and the poor are not the target market.
Time is up. Thank you very much. You leaders can engage.
So Peaceful, I'm listening to you, and what I can get from you is that there's a whole argument around the public hospital and poverty. So what I want you to speak to and answer me is that, what do you think is the main problem? Why are the poor remaining at the bottom?
I think it's quite important that we need to classify health with private sector and public sector. I disagree with Busi. In private sector, there's nothing wrong with administration. You can go to Mediclinic, the administration is good, but go to a public institution, then the problem comes. So my argument is that we have to separate.
What is the problem? Why can't we achieve that?
Hence, I'm saying, with public sector, it's a different case. With
what you need to
private sector,
understand is that
case.
we're not even fighting for the C class or the model C class, but what we're fighting for is standard. I want to be able to go into a clinic and be helped. If I have a headache, I want to receive the proper medication. I'm not saying that I want to walk into an air-conditioned type of thing.
It's quite impossible for you not to speak of class, because when we're speaking of health, you're going to speak of free healthcare services and paid healthcare services.
If you don't understand, I'm agreeing with you, but what I'm asking is that what remains the problem?
Please, you have the remaining 30 seconds.
All right. In conclusion, I propose 3 options. Number 1, we privatize the South African healthcare system. Number 2, we build private hospitals in rural communities. And then by adopting and integrating a grant system that is going to promote medical insurance to provide an incentive for unemployed, elderly, and the disabled. This doesn't only mean that we're going to eliminate free healthcare service, but it's going to give an incentive for those who don't have access to a medical aid. That's my solution to South Africa.
All right, thank you very much, Peaceful. Potato, you have 30 seconds.
Now, the recent takeover of the Provincial Health Department in Northwest, Limpopo and Gauteng province by the national government is a serious indictment on the sector, and is also a clear reflection upon upon close scrutiny, that the problem is not with clinical ineptitude, but that the institutional and organizational mechanization of public health care are as a result of the weak exercise of delegation, the weak exercise of accountability, and setting out connections of responsibility in the delivery chain. So we're not able to provide even a mere paracetamol.
Thank you very much. You leaders can engage.
I'd like to object the motion posed by Kotatso, because that what you're trying to tell us that organizations that are providing quality assurance standards like your IOS 9000 are not doing their job. What are you saying about that? Are you telling me that government
South Africa, what I am saying is that our problem is not resources. Our problem is our solution is not that we need to prioritize.
She's speaking of regulation.
Let her speak, let her continue.
Need to privatize anything. What we're saying is that if China had been able to do it with an income or a budget that is 4 times less, South Africa can do it. Our problem is not resources. Our problem is that we have incorrect human capital. What we are doing is that we always have cadre employment.
You are speaking on the point of compliance, and I'm speaking that we have organizations that are doing regulations. Hence, health institutions have to be given
what
an
I am
IOS
saying,
9000 certificate for quality assurance.
What I am saying is that until we are able to hold everybody accountable for what they're supposed to do,
who's everybody? There's private sector, there's private and public sector.
What I'm speaking to in today's debate is
the most
pressing of everything. The most pressing of the state is the public
Time is up.
sector.
Thank you very much. Potato, you have 30 seconds to close your argument.
Now, in the event that a lack of accountability and responsibility results in medical negligence and affects clinical operations, and so I propose that achieving a clean bill in South Africa in terms of health will require much more than administration or financial injection. What is required is comprehensive business process re-engineering in the delivery of healthcare, linking the outputs from the minister to the worker from the minister to the community health worker at the ground. What I am saying is
Thank you very much. Time is up, Potato. Thank you very much, leaders. Googs, I'll come to you for this one. What do you think of that debate?
So I'm glad they teased out 2 big issues, I think, because like the doctor was saying, the issue of healthcare is quite complex. The one was about the issue of class, because when we speak about improving the private health, the healthcare sector, we're speaking about the public healthcare sector. And I'm glad that that was teased out as an issue. And I'm glad the other issue that came up was about management, administration, the human capital element of, the system, because the system is one thing, but the people who are in it also have quite an influence in it. So I'm quite glad that this was quite a nuanced debate. I think it had a lot of texture, so well done on that.
All right, and let's quickly get the verdict from you, judges.
Just want to double check what the doctor has. I think unanimous, very close, but this one goes to leader 3.
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations to you, Potato. You get yourself a point. Our last debate will be between Anissa and Webster. Anissa, you know the rules by now. Take it away.
Thank you so much. A study by Becky Mbata suggests that we need strategic health reform. The burden of structural issues mixed with negligence agents, corruptions, and everything. And a two-tiered health system in this country gives us a recipe for disaster, which is where we find ourselves today. But more importantly, apart from access, proximity, and cost, we have to look at the stuff that we are feeding our people. We need to look at the lifestyles that we live. So a suggestion and a solution would be to take graduates of medical schools and take them into the rural community to reach those areas. We also need to link IT systems of all hospitals across so that they are able to...
Time is up. Thank you very much. Leaders, you can engage the topic.
Anissa, Africa suffers a quarter of the world's burden of disease,
Your
and there's
question,
just not enough. There's just not enough workers for that. So how do you then solve that problem?
Webster, I don't think the problem here is workers. We have unemployed doctors who have been sitting at home because they're not absorbed into the system. And this is where I speak about unemployed graduates being taken into our remote areas to be able to do
Anissa,
this.
you're not solving the problem.
I'm
what
answering
you're
your
really
question
doing
though, right?
is you're phasing out, or you're showing us one set of the problem. The problem is greater than just doctors sitting at home.
Exactly.
We have inadequate doctors in the sector, but moreover, we have an overburdening on the medical system. You're not engaging a realistic debate.
How is it not engaging a realistic debate, Webster, where I tell you that unemployed doctors who have the quality to solve these problems that we work with are sitting at home?
The most realistic debate is why was
Webster, you're not listening. You're not listening to my solution.
Anissa, don't try and confuse me.
But you're not. You're confused on your own then, Webster.
Time is up. Thank you very much. Leader 2, please wrap up your argument.
South Africa, we are a country in which we are spending more money than in our health and we get poorer outcomes. And this is what Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi said. The World Health Organization tells us that we need to spend 5% of the GDP, but South Africa spends 8.5%, which means that we are really having a problem. South Africa, we need to do a couple of things. We need to merge the public and the private health sector to speak to one another. We need to subsidize the food that we eat. South Africa, we need to also expand in this mobile clinics that we use so that we can reach the
Time is up. Thank you very much. Webster, it's your turn.
Panel, there's an imminent threat to the right to adequate health care. The public health sector does not, it's not that the public health sector does not have adequate health care. There's a big gap between the rich and the poor. Reason being, there needs to be a responsibility and an obligation placed on the private sector. Someone needs to mandate them and force them that if Baragwana has an overburdening of patients, that they should take those people and take care of them. That means that Baragwana comparatively solves people's issues better.
Time is up. Thank you very much. Your leaders can engage.
Webster, one, for example, a student was shot in UKZN, right? We have that example. We have the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital. We have the Baragwana, which you speak about. We have the Life Esidimene. So what are we saying? You're not providing solutions. We have all these things.
That very student was not helped because there was an overburdening in the system. There was no doctor that could help that student. Had the private sector had an obligation to take care of that student, we would not have a death, ladies and gentlemen.
The hospital South Africa did not take him because they were waiting for someone to sign him
in the public sector is not bad. It's just overburdened
can I ask you a question?
Anissa.
You are speaking about the reasons and the mismanagement of public sector. It also exists in the private sector, and you're not addressing that.
Anissa, why do private doctors have less hours than public doctors? Why are they not mandated to work in public sector? This is a mechanism debate. My mechanism is comparatively much better than yours.
Okay, which is your opinion, Webster, but I'm telling you, okay, let's speak of the class and racial struggles.
Time is up. Thank you very much, Webster. You can close your debate, please.
It's important to understand that in the age of a developing country such as South Africa, that there is adequate health care. The healthcare system is overburdened. If the private sector takes away from that burden, comparatively, we are solving issues better because one, private doctors are mandated to work in public sector, meaning there's better skill. Secondly, there's no overburdening of issues within public sector because those patients are able to go to specialized institutions, and comparatively, we solve that issue better. Lastly, here we tell you that.
Thank you very much, Webster. Your time is up, and wow, what an explosive final debate that we had there. Doctor, I'm going to come to you. We don't have time, so keep it very brief. Your comments on that debate, and then we'll get the verdict from you, please.
My comments are it was a rich debate, and I think there were contrasting views. One saying merge, one saying send, refer to the private sector. A referral to the private sector, if they are not merged, is going to be met with resistance. There are people that get referred to the private sector and they charge astronomical amounts to the public sector.
Doctor, the verdict,
and based on that, it was a close debate, but I think the winner was number 2, Amisa.
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations to you, Anissa. We're going to take a very quick break. Do continue sending us your comments by visiting our various social media platforms. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back. This is the final segment of the show for tonight. It's been yet another thought-provoking and engaging topic. We are asking our leaders what would it take to improve healthcare services in South Africa. Now, your votes at home combined with our studio audience votes as well as the judges' votes will determine who goes home today. Well, at the break, our studio audience got an opportunity to vote for their favorite for tonight, and that is Leader 5. Congratulations to you. Before we wrap up tonight, we'll just get parting words from our guest judge this evening. A good doctor, your final words to the rest of South Africa.
My final words to the rest of South Africa and to the contestants is that we could have spoken more about the social determinants of health. Because if you don't address the social factors, you're at the bottom of the pond. The second issue is that the buzzword now is universal health coverage. And none of you broke into that subject. And it's about solidarity and commonality. Then you get better return on your health rent.
All right, thank you very much. Resident judges, due to time, I will be chatting to you guys next week. But for now, let's take a look at what our overall scoreboard is looking like. All right, as our scoreboard stands, unfortunately, Leader 4, you are at the bottom. Your journey with us ends here tonight. But before we say goodbye to you, let's take a look back at your journey on One Day Leader Season 7.
In a country with high unemployment rates, fellow South Africans, let's make entrepreneurship a norm. Entering One Day Leader, I had certain expectations that were not met, but a lot was learned. I felt because it's a leadership show, it will be more leadership-based than debating sector being the alternate decider. So, but I got to learn. I learned a lot. I'm from a very different environment whereby the fancy English words is not my thing. One thing that I cherish about the show is the exposure, and it gives you a platform to learn different things. It taught me something way, way different that I thought I would never be actually mastering. I came as a guy who was singing Tando in the first debate to be the guy who is now having more solutions in terms of the debates. I bring solutions. I'm no longer singing Tando. There's a song that goes, Mtande, Mtande, umuntu wako. You know when you're doing things for the first time, the English just runs away, man. The judges were very, very harsh. They were very, very unfair on me because the judges had this ideal person they want, and I wasn't that person. They expected this sophisticated individual. I'm from the Bundus, we don't have that, we don't do that, we work on now. South Africa, this is my goodbye message. It was nice being here. Ultimately, we had to part. We got to be in a show whereby debating is everything, but I believe leadership is more over than debating, and leadership is going to continue. We are all CEOs when we go forever go forward. Hashtag, I believe, Kiadumela, forward we go.
Kosi, you had an absolutely phenomenal run here on the show. I know that your journey does not end here. This is not the last that we see of you. Go back to the Bundus and go make that change, because forward we go. Our voting lines are now open, so you can start voting for one of our remaining leaders to keep them in the competition. Next week, we'll be discussing yet another thought-provoking topic. For now, I'll leave you with this quote. When you feel like quitting, remember why you started. From myself, Upil Shongwe, and the rest of the team at Tabeng.